Good morning, guys, and happy snow day. Hope you're enjoying your day off and you had a safe trip for Thanksgiving to Atlanta. So, I wanted to talk about where we're at for the rest of the semester because, as nice as a snow day is, we don't have that many days of class left to get your paper finished. So, here I'm on Canvas, I am looking at the calendar, and as you can see, today there's nothing due, but tomorrow I have this problem solution um, I have this problem solution essay, thesis, and outline due tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So you don't have to have it finished by class time tomorrow, but I want you guys to work on it today and to email me what you have by 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning so that I know whether we need to work on it more in class tomorrow or whether we can start working on the paper tomorrow. Okay, so here's what we've got. I read your guys' ABs and I sent you some feedback on them. You did a great job on that, so now we're ready to go on to the thesis and outline. So I give you some instructions in here in the Canvas assignment. Format your outline in a Word document, double space, and use Times New Roman 12-point font. It does not need to be an APA style in terms of a cover page and a running head and all of that. You don't have to do that. So for your thesis statement, you need to advocate a specific solution to the problem. It needs to answer the research question. Okay, and here's the grading breakdown. It answers the research question, uses strong academic language, so don't use informal language in your thesis statement. And I want to see for your outline also that all of the elements are complete and thorough with evidence, critical thinking, and reflection. And we'll get to the elements that I'm talking about down here. And then your supporting points relate to the thesis and comprehensively answer the research question. That's 15 points. A variety of credible sources are noted to support claims made. So this is where you need to do an in-text citation to support the points that you're going to make in your outline. So here's your basic outline. You've got your introductory paragraph, and the last point of your outline there is your thesis statement. Then you're going to identify the problem, describe the first solution, describe the second solution, and then remember that you need to pick one of these solutions or a separate solution, preferably synthesized, as the solution you believe is best for this problem. And then you'll have a conclusion. And each of these will probably be more than one paragraph because remember that your paper is supposed to be 6 to 8 pages. So what I'd like to do with you now is to go through these two outlines, which are sample problem solution outlines. Your outline doesn't have to look exactly like this, but I hope that it gives you some good ideas. So first let's look at outline 1. And this is something I borrowed from another teacher, so don't worry too much about this. Although this is important, if you have no internal citations, I will treat the outline as plagiarized and you will receive a 0 with no revision option. So basically, the instructor here is saying that you have to cite the sources where you got these ideas in your outline, not just in your paper. Otherwise, it's still considered plagiarism. Okay, so your introduction, you kind of have a hook or an attention getter, so you can write this one out, and they give you some ideas here about what that could be. Letter B here is kind of an explanation or connecting information, and then letter C is your thesis statement. This could be some background information on the problem or some statistics about how it's affected people. Okay, and then you go into section 1, which is the problem, and notice they say 3 to 4 paragraphs. Okay, and they've got A, B, and C. Looks like 3 different sections within this one. So first of all, define the problem, and you should write out your topic sentence here. So describe it, give examples, who did it affect. The second paragraph here could be causes or history of the problem, where it originated, where it came from, what caused it. And then section C is how serious it is and what are the consequences. What are the negative effects? What are the consequences to this problem? So the first section is your problem, just like I have on here. After your introduction, identify the problem. Okay, and then you can use a transition sentence to lead into the solution. We'll talk about that in class more. Don't worry about that too much. So now the second section is your solution. And here it's pretty straightforward. You should write out each topic sentence for your solution. So if you spend 2 paragraphs on solution 1, you only need 1 topic sentence. So good point, negative point, and then a rebuttal which is kind of like the counter argument and the refutation. Okay, but the basic idea I want you to take away from this is that your solution part comes next. Okay, your overview of the solution, you can write it out into steps like this, the solution that you are proposing. Okay, and then after you've covered the solutions, then you go to your conclusion, which is your summary statement. Remember, the conclusion restates your thesis and your main points. And then I thought these were some good ideas for what you could do with your conclusion, relate it to the world today or the future, or you can do a call to action, like California needs to do this or that, or just a final thought to leave with your readers. Okay, so that's one possible kind of outline for your paper. Notice that they haven't put any citations in here, so don't forget to put your citations in. And that's the last name of the author and the year in parentheses. Okay, let's look at the second outline. So very similar. First, we have the introduction, and I think they give you some good ideas here about what you could do for your hook, a brief anecdote, striking example, an apt quotation. Don't forget to cite if you have a quotation. Then in the introduction, they're recommending you put the background information, like historical background. So if you don't have that much background information, you could put it in your introduction. If you have a lot to say about the background, that could go into the second section. Okay, and then your thesis statements. This should clearly state the controlling idea of your paper, which is based upon explaining a problem, discussing the possible solutions. So your controlling idea basically means which solution you're going to advocate for in this context. Okay, and then the causes and the effects. So this is another way that you could break down your first section, which is describing the problem. So if you have a lot to say about the problem and not as much to say about the solution, you might want to go this route. Okay, so what are the causes, examples, statistical evidence, who is causing the suffering, who's benefiting from the situation, what policies contribute to the problem. These are just ideas that you could include in here. You don't have to talk about every single one of these, but you might have information about these. Okay, and then they go on to the effects, which is laws, regulations, government programs. What effects does it have on society, on people, on the environment, on the economy, short-term and long-term impacts? What does the future hold? So all of this, causes and effects, they've broken it up into two sections, but this is basically discussing the problem, right? And then we get into the solutions, and notice that it says here, this section will be longer than any other, and that's true for your paper as well, because you have to advocate for one solution and you have to discuss at least two different solutions. So what have been proposed in the past? How did they work out? Success and failure? What are other solutions proposed for the future? And then here, this is where you're going to synthesize solutions or offer your own. Offer an opinion or recommend a course of action in addition to those offered by authoritative sources. Analyze, evaluate, and explain the most favorable course of action. So you're basically arguing why is your solution the best one. All right, and then the conclusion, just like we know, restate the main points of your essay, reinforce your thesis, restate the problem, and what are the benefits of your solution. And I like this part at the end, the call to action. What do you want your reader to do now or to better understand? So I hope that those two example outlines give you some ideas for what to include in your outline. Like I said, I'd like you guys to work on this today since we don't have class, and to email me whatever you have before 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, and I will give you some feedback, and we'll either work on it more in class if you need more help, or we'll move on to start working on your paper. So just to give you an overview of the rest of the week, I did delete the draft that was due this Thursday. So we're just going to have one draft of this paper besides the final draft. So your first draft is due on Tuesday the 4th at 10:30. We'll have conferencing on the 5th, and then on Thursday the 6th, that's our last day of class, we'll have our Christmas party. Then your final draft of your paper is due on December 12th, which is 2 weeks from this Wednesday. So I hope that gives you some ideas about what you should be working on today. As always, feel free to email or Instagram me with questions, and I really look forward to seeing your guys' thesis and outlines. So have a great snow day. See you tomorrow.